Welcome to Brainy Moms. It is April Fool's Day 2021. Thanks for joining us. And today we are going to be talking about how to motivate your kid to finish the school year strong. Okay, but before we get into that, let's talk about April Fool's Day.
Let's talk about April Fool's Day.
Yeah. Okay. So I am Teri Miller. This is Dr. Amy Moore. And Amy, tell us, what is one of your best April Fool's jokes that really worked?
So when I was in high school,
Mm-hmm.
I was a child actress, as everyone knows, or not. And so I hung out with the theater crowd, right? And
Okay.
that involved some older people sometimes too. And so there's this guy in the community theater who agreed to do an April Fool's Day joke on my best friend's mom.
Okay.
And he called her up and he said, "Yes, this is Deputy Brown from the Beaufort County Sheriff's Department. And we have your daughter here in jail for having a pound of marijuana."
Oh my goodness. I mean, did the mom freak out?
She did. She completely
Uh-huh.
freaked out and then realized that you don't measure marijuana in pounds
Oh,
and
oops. How do
thought,
you
this has to be a joke.
how do
Um,
you measure it? Is it like in what, ounces or
I think
liter or
so.
what?
I think so. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe he said grams. I don't know, but he gave it away somehow by using the wrong method.
Right. Right.
So she eventually figured it out, but we were dying.
That's hilarious. That's really a good one. But then that's bad too, because like if the mom really believed it and got onto her kid or whatever,
Right.
oh my gosh.
Right. So how about you?
Okay, I have two funny ones. Okay, so one was in high school, and it was the whole, I don't remember what kids started it, but it was an English class and an honors English class, and can't speak, in eighth grade. And we just loved the teacher. He was so awesome. Mr. Warren, I still remember his name. But so one of the kids had this idea and they set it up with the principal and everything, or somebody from the front desk at the office. And so they called him away for a phone call or something. And so, he steps out of the classroom for 3 to 5 minutes, I don't know, something. And we all had planned ahead. We all rearranged the entire classroom. I mean, like moved a board, moved the teacher's desk. We reversed the entire classroom so that when he walked in, he was walking into like the back of the class and his desk was the other way. And we're all facing the other way. And we're just quietly doing our work. And it was just hilarious because it was just dead silent, not a word, and then he, finally you hear him chuckle and then he just starts laughing till he just about cried. And of course we all died laughing too. It was great.
Nice.
So that was
That's
a good
great.
one.
Yeah. So
And
I
then,
suspect we're going
oh,
to be hearing a lot of April Fool's stories
oh yeah, from other people
today.
today.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. In fact, send us yours.
Oh, that's fun. Yeah. Tell us your stories.
Yeah, we'd love to hear them.
Yeah. I April fooled my husband and told him my son was talking when he was like 9 months old. My son was born in June. It was our firstborn. And I just, called him, was like, oh my gosh, he just started talking like in sentences. I mean, listen, oh, he won't do it. He just said, Mama, I want a cup. And he says, where's Dad at? And of course he totally believed me. It was our first kid. My husband didn't know any better, but
Right.
it was completely ridiculous that a 9-month-old would start talking in sentences. So
Right.
yeah,
Right.
but it was good.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All
And
right.
my
Should we get to the
oldest,
topic today?
we should, I was about to tell another one.
We can end on it. How's that?
Okay, no, it's fine. We can just, forget it. Let's get on to the topic. Okay, so how to end this crazy school year strong?
Yeah.
Yes, there are lots of resources out there, encouraging teachers, encouraging parents. And so, what have you found? I know you were taking notes and doing research. So, Dr. Amy, what have you wisely found that you can encourage us with?
Well, I think we ought to identify why there's a problem right now first.
Okay.
And so this has been a rough year. I mean, we
Hmm.
are past the year mark of this pandemic.
Yeah.
And so, we've been talking in our last couple of episodes, the struggle to keep kids on track and motivated and learning at the same rate and pace that they typically do.
Right.
And it can be discouraging, right? When what you know and your regular routines have been completely turned upside down, inside out, disrupted, right?
Right.
On a normal year, this time of year, kids
It's
are
hard.
waiting for summer, and it's hard to keep them motivated to finish out the semester, right? On a normal
Yeah.
year. But we're going on year number 2 of this same time point,
Mm-hmm.
right? Of, okay, how do we get them through the next 6 to 8 weeks?
Yeah.
Motivated, excited to learn, and finishing this year the best that they can given the circumstances, right? So
Yeah.
um, I think let's talk about elementary school students too, because I think keeping younger children motivated is a little bit different than keeping older children motivated.
Very,
Yeah.
very.
Let's talk
Mhm.
about elementary age kids.
Okay. Okay.
And they're a little easier.
Yes,
To be
I mean,
honest.
that's my perspective. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have uh-oh, did I lose you? Nope.
Hello, I'm
Sorry,
here.
technical glitch.
That's okay. No big
We're back.
deal. We live
Okay,
in the real world.
so I have 4 tips
Okay.
for elementary. All right.
Okay.
First is to revive their supplies.
What does
There's
that mean?
something super cool about a new glitter pencil or a pen
Oh.
with your favorite cartoon on it. A tiny little investment in a
Mm-hmm.
new school supply can go a long way for a younger child.
Mm-hmm.
But along with that, you need to get their current supplies organized. How many times as a mom have you opened a backpack to find a 3-month-old sandwich,
Mm-hmm.
14 assignments that did not get turned in that are crumpled up in the bottom of the bag underneath a couple of overdue library books, and the dog's chew toy and the baby's stuffed animal, right?
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Right.
Did
So let's
you
give
just look in my daughter's backpack for what? Except
right.
for the dog toy. That was it.
So let's give them a clean slate for the last 2 months of school, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dump it all out with them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let them tell you what's trash, what can stay, what needs to get returned. Right? Get that backpack completely organized, and then add a new supply or two that
Mhm.
that they've chosen or that that they'll like. So
That's
revive
so
their
fun.
supplies. Yeah, that's
I
my
love
first.
that.
Yeah.
I'm thinking even a new backpack. Because I mean, like our little Goodwill, whatever store, has so many school backpacks all the time. I mean, anytime like we'll be in there. Well, we were just in there looking for costumes for the kids doing for this book book day, whatever. And always my little girl goes to the backpacks. Oh, it's Little Mermaid. Oh, it's Frozen. And she wants a backpack. And I'm like, you've got a backpack. But wouldn't that be so cool to just get her a backpack?
Yeah.
She would be thrilled. We would automatically clean it out. I love that. I'm totally gonna do it.
Yeah. And when you can find a good deal,
Yeah.
at a secondhand store for
Yeah.
sure, or a sale on a new one, yeah, if that's in the budget, go for it.
Right. Yeah.
Absolutely. Um, or if you want to make an investment like that, and first of all, you don't always need a new backpack every year, so you could get it now and then carry it through the first semester of next year too.
Yeah.
But it could also be something that they could earn.
Mm-hmm. Oh, fun. Yeah.
Okay. Number 2,
Okay.
check your own attitude because it's contagious.
Ooh, good one.
Right. So
Yeah.
your child is not the only one ready for this school year to be over. You are too. Admit it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
You are tired of pandemic related school.
Yeah.
I get it. We're moms. We get it. So check your own attitude. Our children take cues from us.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And if we're speaking negatively about school, about
Yeah.
homework, about the situation in front of our kids,
Mm-hmm.
then we can't expect them to be excited
Yeah.
about school and the situation.
Yeah.
Right. So check our own attitudes.
Okay. That's a good one. The griping that we do about the current situation. I mean, we're stuck with it. So yeah, I need to stop griping about it because you're right. Then that's just It infects everybody.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the type of conversation that we have with our spouses,
Yeah,
right? Not that we have in front of our kids.
for sure. That's good. Yeah.
Because it's okay for us to be frustrated. We just
Yeah.
don't want to share that frustration.
Right.
Yeah. With
That's
our
what we can talk about here.
Yeah, absolutely. We could talk to the cows come home with other moms about it.
Yeah.
Right. All right. Number 3, stay on schedule. Right.
Hmm.
So we've gone through daylight savings time now, and it's staying light out longer. And, the temptation is it's warmer outside, especially here in colder climates. Oh my goodness, we can go out now.
Mm-hmm.
The temptation is to not keep the same schedule that we've kept for school. Right.
Yeah.
And so,
Mhm.
um, we still want to make time for homework. We still want to set the expectation that we do have regular bedtimes for you, that you do need to read before bed, that
Yeah.
you do have to finish homework before you can go out and play. We need to maintain that schedule so that that's the mindset that our kids still have for that
That's
last 2
good.
months.
It's especially, I mean, for us, we just ended a week of spring break. I know it's different for different kids and schools all across the country. And there are some schools, the schools in Florida, a lot of the colleges canceled spring break and they're getting out early. Is that genius or what? So smart. I wish our kids had done that. But
Yeah.
our spring break, it was awesome. It was a great break. But that stay on schedule, that's really hard because it's not just that, yeah, it's lighter and brighter outside. It's that then they had a week of staying up late and playing video games and, eating junk food and having soda. And so already, yeah, I've been like, okay, you guys, no, it's Wednesday, it's Thursday, it's going to be, we're not having soda again. Spring break is over. No, you may not have chips after dinner. Tomorrow's a school day, so all that stuff is important.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, what's number 4?
Number 4, create a challenge.
Ooh,
Kids
okay.
love the idea of contests or setting a goal and meeting that goal because there's some sort of reward at the end. And whether
Okay.
that reward is the huge dopamine release that you get from the high five of finishing that task, or
Mhm.
if you've chosen a reward that you actually get to earn. And that depends on
Okay.
how you operate as a parent, how you decide what that reward looks like. And that's a bigger discussion than we'll have today.
Ugh, okay.
But help your child create a challenge for themselves that has something to do with school. So whether it's they're going to read 4 new library books before the end, or they're going to
Yeah.
challenge themselves to complete a whole new page of multiplication facts in less than 60 seconds,
Mhm.
or something that pushes them beyond their current skill level,
Mhm.
to be able to have that sense of achievement and
Yeah.
satisfaction, right? And that they're working towards while they're finishing up this last 2 months of school.
That's really good. Gosh, yeah, I think especially for the itty bitties. I mean, my son that's in 5th grade, gosh, yeah, that would be hard to come up with stuff. Because he's almost he's turning that corner to where he's kind of like, I don't care. I'm over this.
Yeah.
Which kind of, I mean, but that transitions us to, it's very, very different with middle schoolers and then high schoolers right now.
Mhm. Yep.
To motivate, challenge, to press on. So, I mean, you have a high schooler who's actually doing college stuff, but
Right.
he's so self-motivated. It's almost like you don't count. He's not, he's not a normal kid. He's so smart and amazing and self-motivated.
But no, he does experience the same peaks and valleys that every other 16-year-old boy experiences.
Okay.
So, keeping him motivated right now is hard as well,
Okay.
especially because he has a job. Like, he just got his first paying job. So now
Nice.
he wants that to be his focus. And we have to keep reeling him back in and reminding him, yes, you're only taking a couple classes and they're college classes, but that's your number one priority right now,
Right.
because you
Okay.
need to think of the long-term payoff,
Hmm.
the long-term pay, because First of all, if you're miserable in high school right now and you don't put your best effort to finish this semester strong and you fail those classes, you
Oh,
just get more of the same.
right.
It's not like you just get to skip right over it,
Yeah.
right?
Sadly, I think that is some of what we're seeing. There's some, I looked at a couple of articles, Education Week, and then, gosh, here's one. I'm looking over at articles here. NBC, yeah, NBC News. And there's an article, gosh, that's very recent, like the last couple of weeks, that's talking about the kids are reaching milestones later than they were, last year and years past. Not
Right.
surprising. But what we're seeing is that educators are being encouraged um, to just kind of pass kids through. Like
Mm.
even the grading perspectives. Now, standardized testing that's going to show that kids are reaching milestones later, and that's what this one article talked about. And yet, in the classroom, there is a move. What I'm seeing, and I could, we could put links to some articles, but I mean, I'm not an authority. I'm not an educational psychology, but as a mom, what I'm seeing is that there's this move to just, okay, the kid that's failing, well, it's because of this challenge and that challenge, and they learn this way or that way. And so we're going to give them a 70, they're going to pass,
Mm.
they're going to get a 75 instead of a 65. And so I think we're going to end up seeing a whole slew of kids that pass things they wouldn't normally have passed with the effort they have put in this year.
Mhm.
And so as a culture, I think we're going to see, yeah, lower achievement. But then, so what?
Right.
And so then that's the slippery slope that I don't know. I kind of have this different perspective, like, okay, help your kids finish strong, but maybe the thing we need to do is redefine what strong means. What are we looking for? What does that mean? Their grades, their achievement, their attitude, their social skills, their anxiety levels. I mean, there's so many things at play here that have never even been evaluated, scientifically looked at from an educational or psychological perspective, because our culture's never been in this place. Our kids have not been in this place before, ever. And so there's just a completely different measuring level that we're looking at for what strong means. What does it mean to end strong?
Sure.
What if suicide rates could level off and go down? That would be a win.
Right.
Teen adolescent suicide. I mean, that would be strong. Well, what if grades are lower? What if achievements are lower? Okay, that's okay. Maybe that's not something that we need to worry about right now. I don't know. What do you think?
So I think you raise some really good points. Some really good points. And it reminds me of when my oldest was really struggling. Um, he's 22 now, but he was really struggling as a sophomore in high school when he was suffering from post-concussion syndrome. He was kicked in
Okay.
the head during a soccer game, and he missed an entire semester of
Mm.
sophomore year because the headaches were so bad and the
Oh my
anxiety
goodness.
that came along with just the inability for him to recover physically
Mhm.
was so bad that he just couldn't do it. And we made the decision that his emotional health was more important to us than school.
Right.
And so he stayed in one class, an elective that he enjoyed, that he didn't, need a ton of cognitive capacity to get through,
Mhm.
um, just so that he could stay enrolled for that semester
Mhm.
while we allowed his brain to heal
Yeah.
and then his heart to heal, right? Because he
Yeah.
was just so frustrated with himself and his inability to perform at all. And so, yes, if if their hearts aren't in a good place, then their brains aren't going to follow.
Mm-hmm.
And so I absolutely agree with you that their social and emotional health is number one.
Yeah.
Absolutely number one. And I think that um, the point I was trying to make earlier is that we don't want them to give up.
Yeah.
We don't want them to give up and just fail because they stop doing anything.
Yes.
I think if teachers are adjusting their expectations
Mm-hmm.
for low stakes courses, I think that's right on.
Mm-hmm.
That's right on the money. Most school districts, the curriculum's grade with rubrics. And so rubrics are a set of criteria that students are expected to meet in order to earn particular grade on each assignment.
Right.
So to get 5 points in creativity, you have to have, 4 different topics, that address the content. To get 5 points in mechanics, you're not allowed to have any spelling errors.
Okay. Yeah.
4 points, you could have 1 spelling error, things like that.
Yeah.
So to relax the rubric makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah.
Makes perfect sense to me because you can still talk about the content. You can still create modified assignments, around the content and the topics, and
Mm-hmm.
have meaningful learning take place
Right.
without the strict expectations that some of those rubrics require.
Yeah. I think I think we're definitely seeing that happen across the board culturally in public schools and education right now. Hey, let's take a break for just a minute and hear a word from our sponsor. It's estimated that there are over 6 million children in the US diagnosed with ADHD, and parents often turn to strong medication as a last resort to help mask the symptoms. But Learning RX is addressing the root cause of ADHD and attention struggles without the use of harmful medication. Visit learningrx.com to learn how they're helping students, even with severe ADHD, significantly improve their attention skills. That's learningrx.com. Thanks to LearningRx for sponsoring our show.
And I would like to point out that we are also associated with Learning RX.
Mm-hmm.
We are in charge of their research.
Yes.
And happy to answer any questions regarding that amazing intervention at any time. All right.
Personal and business fans of Learning RX. I wanted to just bring up, the issue of high schoolers. And I don't have any ideas or solutions. But one of the things that I also saw online was there's several articles. One of them I've looked up a lot through NBC News. I must be a fan of NBC News. But anyway, it was just railing on, it's called edgenuity. You call it, you say it ingenuity, but it's spelled EDGENUITY. But anyway, so it's an online education resource that apparently the company says was not designed for an epidemic. It wasn't designed to be used the way it is being used. But that's just one example. My high schoolers are on a program called the Summit Platform. And again, I don't want to dog anything that's going on out there, because I can't imagine how horribly difficult it has been for administrators and educators to navigate all of this. But the bottom line is, it still is profoundly challenging for our kids. And so my boys on Summit Platform, what we're seeing is they're not getting feedback for certain things. They'll turn in certain projects. They don't know what was wrong, but they just get a grade. And that's what we're seeing a lot of with this online or hybrid learning model. And so my freshman, Canyon, he's like your Evan. He's just super smart, just self-starter, go-getter educationally, just so intelligent. And he is bored out of his skull just wants to quit everything in the world. I don't even know. I mean, he's so frustrated and unhappy. He's not going in person hardly at all. He has the opportunity. He could now, but he's not, because he's like, why? He is convinced that the thing he needs to do is the bare minimum to get by. And he could be doing college courses. Well, and we're going to pursue Colorado early colleges next year, because I've been frustrated with his, response this year.
Right.
So he's so struggling with that. And now Ian, on the other hand, my 10th grader, loves being in person. He loves going to school, being with his friends, and yet he has the same essential perspective, that he's just doing the bare minimums to get by, because his perspective is, it's so dumb. He talked about some class he was in where he said, yeah, the teacher did stuff for 10 minutes and then turned it off. And so for 45 minutes, everybody did whatever they wanted, in person and online. And again, nothing against that teacher, who knows what was going on. But Ian's he's just over it. He just doesn't care. And as a mom, I want to say, boys, you need to push through. You need to be doing your best. But I find myself on the inside going, okay, just do the bare minimums. Just get through this ridiculous mess of a year. I say a lot, well, Canyon, just don't fail, okay? Don't fail. You're too smart. But my super genius kid is probably going to end up with C's in some of his classes. If it were a normal year, he'd be A's. So I don't know, other moms, are you feeling this? Are you struggling with this? Do you have any insight for us? I know I just like puked out that frustration to you. And now I'm like, okay, Dr. Amy, solve my problem. Solve it.
I would love to be able to solve it.
Yes.
Not sure that's possible in a 30-minute podcast. Or I'm not sure any of us have the answers right now, right? But
yeah,
I can think of a few suggestions that might make it a little bit better.
Okay.
So I think the number one thing that parents can do right now is connect.
Yeah,
And
that's
so
good.
I talk about this all the time, that connectedness is the number one buffer against mental health crisis, being connected. And so we can't just make assumptions that we think that our kids are not motivated for reasons that we don't know, right? We have to talk to them. We have to find out what drives them, what scares them, what motivates them, what frustrates them, what upsets them, what challenges them, right? Through authentic interactions, right? We're not going to bring them home, sit them around the table and go, number one, what motivates you? Number two, right?
Yeah.
We need to connect. We need to connect, because are they afraid of failing? So they're just not going to try, so that then they can just blame it on the pandemic? Are they thinking that all of their hard work means nothing because they're not hearing feedback that it does mean something?
Yeah, that's oof. I know that's definitely something my kids have expressed.
Right?
Yeah.
Because nobody wants to work and produce and not get feedback on that effort.
Yeah.
Right? And if a grade is the only feedback that they're getting, then maybe that's a conversation that we encourage them to have with their teachers or their professors.
Yeah.
Hey, I got an 82. Could you give me some feedback on what I could have done better?
Yeah.
Something like that. And we need to teach them to be advocates for themselves in each class, for sure.
Unless they're on some stupid online platform where they can't there's no conversation with a teacher.
Well, but they can email them.
Well, but no, I mean, that's like the thing with some of these programs like this, the Ingenuity program and the Summit platform. I mean, they complete certain things and they just submit it and the computer system spits out a grade. And so they're not.
So it's not being graded by a human.
No.
Right.
A lot of the online programs are so automated that a teacher might oversee it to say, hey, I'll answer questions. But then once that work is submitted, they just get a grade.
Sure. So in situations like that, then my recommendation would be, as we connect with our children and as we drill down on what motivates them, what what is missing from their life that will spark some excitement,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because that task that they're being required to do, right? It's a hoop they have to jump through. That task is not what's going to spark excitement in their lives. Right?
Right.
So,
Yeah.
what will? What can we add as parents? What can we introduce them to? What can we get them involved in that will give them some motivation in another area of their life that could then spill over into everything that they do? Because
Right.
we know that success breeds success.
Hmm.
We know that when we can increase self-efficacy for one task, that it can transfer to that idea
Right.
that I can do this
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
other tasks.
Yeah.
So I think connection is the number one thing that we need to really work hard on as parents.
Yeah.
Um, and then the next step is that we have to be their cheerleader.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
until
That's
we
good.
connect, right? Until we
Hmm.
know what's driving them, what they're doing, what they need help with, what they're struggling with, then we don't know what to cheer them on about.
Hmm.
Right. And so
Yeah.
we absolutely, I believe, are put on this earth to be our child's biggest fan.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Right. And so um, if we can help instill confidence in them by cheering them on, then that's going to help them in every aspect of their lives.
Hmm.
Right. That we
Yeah.
believe in them, that we're here for them, that we're going to provide them with the resources that they need.
Yeah.
Um, that we can help them feel like I can do this, I can get through this.
Yeah.
And I don't have to like it,
Right.
right? Because this is one of those things that um a hoop I have to jump through.
Yeah. And that it's going to look different for every kid, that what we call ending strong is going to be very different for every child. And I don't care if you have an only child, if you've got 3 kids, if you've got 7, if you've got 9, whatever. Every kid is so different. And I think even, among siblings, like that point of connection, what you're saying, that point of connection is so important. And so for me, with a lot of kids in a big family, I have to take time individually with each child, separate time. Like you said, I can't just sit at the dinner table and say, okay, let's go around the table and say what you think. Because some of them are going to share in a group and some aren't. And they're all just so different, handling all of this so differently. Like my Ian, the one I said who's a sophomore, just that's my 5 youngest that are at home. And he's loving the in-person, and what's motivating him and what's causing him to feel like blow it off is very different from Canyon, my freshman, who's so smart and so just brainiac. And I know that what's going to motivate him is going to be really different. He is bored. He's bored out of his skull,
Mm.
and he's not having fun. There's just nothing that he cares about. I think he's just depressed. And then my 6th grader, my daughter, who's, very people person, and she's enjoying the in-person and she's doing fine. She's pushing through, she's doing okay. And then my 5th grader, he's like my freshman, Nakota, is so bored. He's just, he cannot wait for it all to be over because all he's doing is checking boxes. He is not inspired or motivated to do anything. He's not into the social connections. And then my 3rd grader, yeah, here's a little reveal. This morning she pitched a fit. I mean, every once in a while this happens where she just really needs to feel in control. She came out dressed in this beautiful spring dress and tights and high heel sandals. Number 1, there's snow on the ground. Number 2, she has gym today. I was like, honey, don't you have gym today? You need to wear clothes you can wear for gym. And she just major meltdown because I had her go change clothes, so that she could actually do gym. But then when she was just yelling and just really having a hard time in a room, I just went in there and I was like, I know this is hard. I know you just want to wear what you want to wear, but I know you really want to go to school too. And so if you want to go to school today, then you're going to have to just take a few deep breaths and, just put on clothes you can go to gym in, because otherwise you just can't really go to school like this. And she's like, she straightens up, she wipes her tears. She's like, oh yeah, she is motivated to go to school. She loves going to school. I
Yeah.
mean, if I told her she had to wear a parka, she would probably be like, okay, I'll suck it up. I'll wear a parka, I mean, not that I'm going to control my kids and make them wear a parka, but they're just not going to wear high-heeled sandals on gym day,
Right,
So.
right.
But anyway, I don't know, just that every kid is motivated by such different things.
Mhm.
Every kid is hurt by such different things.
Yes.
And I think what you said, I don't care if college, high school, down to preschool, that's, I think, the key piece, that understanding, digging in, connecting, empathy, saying, I know this is hard.
Yep.
And I don't know how you feel, but I want to be here for you.
Yeah, exactly.
And let me help you finish strong. How strong is to you? What strong means to you, to each individual child?
And one of the other things too, if they're not getting the feedback on the assignments from school, right, that they need, like they're not getting that whole feedback loop, that says to them, hey, you did a great job on this, right? We can do that, right? As
Yeah.
part of our connecting, we're able to say, you worked really hard on that. I am
Right.
super impressed with your ability to sit for an hour and a half and complete that task.
Yeah.
Look at that effort that you put in, right? And that is not the same thing as saying you drew a pretty picture.
Right. It's
Right.
Look how hard you worked.
Yes.
Yes.
That's talking to them about grit and perseverance, and that those life skills that they, again, can apply in any situation as we cheer them on, their ability to conquer that and use that and grow that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So good.
And then another thing we need to do is remember that their executive function skills are not completely developed yet, right? Their ability to plan and execute a plan. And so sometimes we have to help them create how you get from one point to another, that we have to help them reason through a strategy of how they're going to attack each thing.
Right.
Right. Because we make the assumption, okay, they've got the assignment. They know what they're supposed to do. Sure, they might know what the outcome is supposed to be, but maybe they need help planning the steps to get there because they're overwhelmed.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I think especially with, some of the online, hybrid models. I mean, they're looking at this big screen with all the things they still have left to do before the end of the year. And it's like, oh my gosh, I don't even know where to start.
Right. And so we can give them some of the strategies that we use as adults to help knock out our task list.
Yeah.
For example, doing the hardest thing first.
Yeah. Or the most boring thing
or the
first.
thing we like the least first.
Yeah.
Right. And so if we can help them plan their day out like that, right, so that they are strategically completing tasks in an order that they realize, okay, if I get this done, then I can do this one that I think is more fun. Then I can take a break, right?
Yeah.
Then I can have my favorite food for lunch because he knows me so well. He stocked the fridge with that.
Aw.
Right. And so I think really helping them organize their tasks and the order in which they're going to complete their tasks has a bigger impact than we think.
Yeah.
Rather than just assuming that they can make that happen themselves.
Okay. So, hey, I want to recap. We're about out of time. And I just loved that, you had some really clear suggestions for us moms. And so I think, for elementary school kids, I loved your idea to revamp the supplies, get a few new supplies. Hey, maybe a new backpack if you can swing that.
Yeah.
And then number 2, check your attitude, because it's definitely going to infect the kiddos and the whole household.
Yep.
And number 3, stay on schedule, especially if you've had any kind of a spring break holiday. It's hard from spring break to the end of the year to go, okay, we can do this. We can do this. We
Right.
can go on bed on time. We can stop having M&Ms every afternoon, whatever.
Yep.
And then number 4, create a challenge. Help them find something that they can earn, or a goal they can work towards, and then have that achievement. And then we talked about for our older kids, our high schoolers, and even the younger ones, for all your children, to reevaluate, what does it mean to end strong?
Yeah.
And that may mean something different for every kid and every family. And that may not mean it's all about grades. That may not mean it's all about completion. It may not be all about attendance. Maybe it's about attitude. It's about heart. And then I think the last thing that you said that was so important is just that connection with each individual child. And I just think it's important too for us to be vulnerable and say, this is hard. This is hard for all of us.
Absolutely.
And
We're in uncharted territory for sure. And so we can only do the best we can with the information and experience and knowledge that we have.
Yeah.
Right. And so we just do our best.
Doing our best.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And I think what we need to remember is that not only do we need to help our children find joy in the journey, but we need to find joy in the journey too.
Oh, yes.
That our lives don't begin when this pandemic is over and we get back to normal.
Right.
This is our life.
Right.
These are our lives right now. And as hard as it is and as challenging it is, it brings us joy to be a mom. Right.
Yeah.
And
even when we're like this.
I know. And so we talked about.
I was pulling my hair out for listeners. I was pulling my hair out.
We talked about checking our own attitudes because they're contagious.
Yeah.
Well, if we have an attitude of joy about being a mom, about being a member of this family, right? Then maybe our children can catch joy about being alive and being our kids. Right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
We can do this. We can do this, moms.
All right. We're so excited you guys joined us today on April Fool's Day. And,
yes.
You know, as always, you're a brainy mom. We're a brainy mom. We're all busy moms.
Oh, wait, but before we go.
Yeah.
So, Kevin and I were on a vacation. And so we found out, don't freak out, Amy, that I am pregnant.
Okay. I have to tell you, for a split second,
what?
I almost was going to believe that. Because you already have 9. Might as well make it a perfect 10. And then I realized she is April Fool's joking me right now.
Right now. Happy April Fool's Day, you guys. No, I am not pregnant. We are not expecting number 10. Okay, go ahead, Amy.
All right. You're busy. We're busy. We're out.
We're out.